In your own words, how would you describe Jesus in your life?
Well, it sounds like something everybody would say, but he is my everything. He is, he fixes everything. He uh, shows me everything, leads me. Seriously, he does. Like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, he leads you and he does all this stuff, but he really does. Like, I see it and I feel it. Um, and I am secure. I am so secure no matter what happens in the world, outside my house, inside my house. I am so safe and secure. And that is huge. And why do I know that? Well, I feel it, but I know it because of knowledge of Jesus and reading the Word. But I also know it because of my past, years and years and years, and seeing him come through. And it's like, if I can't deny that he does all these things because they happen and they shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't see something happen that is almost impossible. Pretty much, some of them were impossible, and they happened right in front of my eyes, and I lived it, and I was always 100%, 150% doing the backstroke, like this tragedy, horrible thing, and I'm like, after it, it's like, when I thought, I was like, oh no, I'm going down, this is it. Nope, fine. And he
Mm-hmm.
is safety and security.
How did you feel during those worrying times? Like, how worried?
What was the last part?
How worried did you feel
Oh,
during those times?
extreme. I could have fell into the floor in a million pieces. Extreme anxiety, worry. Oh no, oh my God. Like my life was coming to a total end. Like, in another 3 days, it was done. And poof, right back up. Nothing happened. Nothing ever happened. Nothing.
Would you say that with your experience, you worry less now than you did then?
Yes, and it took. Sometimes I still do it for a second, and I catch myself because I know I'll be fine. Um, but it took some years to realize this is really true. He's doing this. It isn't. Oh, what a coincidence! I'm just fine after a life altering experience, like totally life altering. Um, I'm fine. Now I know it's him because you can look back and you can say, it was. I mean, there is no other explanation because those things can't happen. They can't.
Mm.
They don't. I don't know anybody with those stories. Nobody ever tells me these crazy stories that, oh, and I was fine. And then I lived for nothing for a year in a rental in a home with a pool, a built-in pool, and I didn't have to pay any rent for a year. I'm like, nobody tells you that, but I did. I did, and more. Like
Mm-hmm.
crazy things. So
Uh,
I'm no different. Wait, I'm no different than anybody else. Everybody thinks, is that really God? Come on. Like really? Like, well, I guess it could be, but yeah, there's always that thing in your head going,
doubt.
you know, doubt. But after, I'm older now, so after all decades, yes, I can say for sure it definitely is. Definitely.
Mm.
Definitely.
If there are some people watching who are doubtful about God but still curious, what would you say to them?
I guess I could only say try it. Try it out and try your best to actually, like, if he's really there, you're going to believe this and believe in him. And it's hard at first because we have our own instincts and self safety things, and things we put into place in our lives. Different people have different things to ward off anxiety or bad things happening. So we try to do what we're going to do, to make it not happen. But try your best. Let him do it. Just let him do it and see if it happens. There's no other way to really find out but to go through it and see if it happens. and try your best to keep believing. I just told a friend last week, we'll pray for his, it was his relative was very, very sick in ICU and unit. And I said, so, just try to believe as much as possible, because that's what makes it work. Come through is your belief, the faith. Try to believe. And he did, and the relative is out of ICU, and he went home. So, and he was saved. This person was saved, like 30 years ago with me. He got saved. I took him, and he got saved, and he wrote back to me. He said, and I do remember in 1991 I got saved because of you. You told me about it, and I did, and it has never left me. God has never left me. That's what he said.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It was beautiful.
It is.
And this person is a motorcycle guy with the jacket and the group, the gang and all that. This is who's telling me this.
If there are anybody watching who has tried to believe in the past but couldn't, and they're convinced that God isn't real, what would you say to them?
I probably have to think about that a little bit, but I would say try again and try to, if you have any things with God that time that were clogging up the quote system, we'll say, where you learned from some churches or some kind of pastors or priests that were scaring you, and there's so many rules, and you just couldn't cut it, and you just can't stop sinning, and it's never going to work, and God's stupid because how would he make up all those rules, and we can't even do them. Well, you're right, you can't do them. You can't do them. You will be sinning. We're all going to be sinning. I'm going to sin for the rest of my life, every day probably, pretty much. But if you let that go, because God doesn't judge you, once you're with him and saved by him, that time you get saved, he doesn't judge you anymore. There's no condemnation in Jesus Christ. So just know that and just try your best. He's telling you don't sin for your own good here on earth, so your life can flow better and be good. Your life will not be good if you keep doing, horrible, stupid things and making up your own way, and I'll just be, do this and connive and all this stuff. Just go with him and know he loves you, and you're saved. And then try your best not to do those things, but for your own good. And that's what I would say.